Good morning. It is April the 7th, 2017, and this is episode, I haven't even opened my book yet, but we're not starting over. This is episode 144 of the We Are Yarn podcast. Hi, my name's Amanda, also known as Mandy Cat on Ravelry, MandiKat, and Mandy Cat, spelled the same way, 509 on Instagram, which is my social media of choice these days. It's that and Pinterest are pretty much those three are my social medias now, pretty much. So that's where you'll find me. Yeah, so if we're buddies, if you're a friend or family member that I am buddies with on Facebook, I've been absent and my life has been so much better. Okay, so this is episode 144, and I have titled it Season 4 Begins Now with Balance. After taking the month off, some things happened. Health-wise, I'm fine, but it made me realize that I'm trying to do way too much, and I'm having to scale it back. So, but I don't want to give anything up, right? I love... This is part of my fiber hobby, podcasting and sitting down to speak with you guys. And I really did miss it while I was gone. But I've decided that I'm going to change the format a little bit. I'm not going to talk about everything I'm working on every time that I sit down to talk to you. I'm going to be more purposeful about what I talk about. So, Season 1, I said Season 4. Season 1 was, the beginning. Season 2, I'm going to call after I took a little hiatus after I got pregnant. And then that was Season 2. And then I took a little hiatus after I gave birth. That was Season 3. Season 4, now beginning and we're going to say that it started with Mommy needing to be real. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. We're going to have, I'm going to talk about one or maybe two projects. If I have a finished object, I'll talk about the finished object, and then the one project that I'm working on, be that crochet, knitting, spinning, whatever it happens to be. I may, if I have time, discuss some new inspirations that have come, because I'm over-inspired. It's one of my problems. With my craft is that I want to do it all, and I want it all now. It can't happen. But, if I find some inspiration, maybe I'll be able to, maybe it'll rub off on you a little bit, right? And that'll be it. That new inspiration may come as yarn that I rediscovered from my stash. It may be, a new purchase. It may be a new pattern. It may be a pattern and then I thought, oh my goodness, that would be perfect with some yarn in my stash. Then I'll show it all to you. Today we're not going to do that. So, but from going forward, in the past, my episodes have run, half hour-ish. I'm shooting for 15 minutes now, because in 15 minutes I can record. In 15 minutes I can get it all moved to the computer and start the editing process, watch it through once to make sure there were no problems, and then get it uploaded. So it should take me, hopefully that'll cut my time way down and how much I'm spending on the podcast, but I still get to do it because I do want to talk to you guys. So, also, it's not going to be as boring. I'm not going to be showing up the same thing every single week. So maybe it'll be a little more interesting for you guys. Okay? Okay. So, with all that said, let's move into what I have to show you. First off, I did finish a project last month while I was away from you guys. And you have seen it many times. We had a knit-along. It's my Ocean Bound shawl. I am wearing it. I threw it around my neck when I was running in here. So here it is in all of its glory. I have put myself in a tiny little space. This is really this is this edge. This is my couch. I got no room. My couch in my craft room. This is the lacy end. When I blocked this, it took up the entirety of my king size bed. So that's my lace. The lacy bits are the Color Wheel yarn in her BFL sock base, BFL nylon sock base in the Morning Mist colorway. I hear rumors that she may be picking up dyeing again, so that may be available soon. The garter stitch section is a lovely superwash merino nylon blend from Manos del Uruguay, the Alegria base, in the Atlantico colorway, I believe is what it was called. If you're new, if you're just finding me for season 4, and you haven't gone back to check out previous episodes, this shawl, welcome, by the way, if you're new. I'm so glad you've come to join me and the craziness which is my life these days. So this shawl is kind of a souvenir shawl. The yarn, the Alegria, was a souvenir yarn that I bought in Hilton Head, and when my husband and I visited the beach, and it reminded me of, we took a kayaking excursion, and it reminded me of our kayaking excursion. And then I went with the gray for the lace because it reminded me of the color of the sky when we were at least 2 miles down the beach from our from the place we were staying, and the skies opened up on us and we got rained on, and we were not in our bathing suits, and we were just in clothes, and it was raining, and my husband was so angry. He claims he doesn't remember being angry. But yeah, so you see it's still going. It's so long. I have seen in some patterns lately and some shop samples where when it's really long they'll tie a knot in one end of it, and I think I like that. Since I wear them around my neck like this, that knot in that long end, it's kind of jaunty. Can you see it? Yeah. So I'm really pleased. Well, I am pleased with how it turned out. It was a long haul knitting this, and for me at this stage in my life, and it was an interesting knit, but when I got down to the last 2 repeats of the lace, maybe, or when I finally made it to that last chart, I was like, oh my gosh, can it be over? So, but this took up a lot of yarn. They were both 400 and change, 420 maybe yard skeins, and I had not much at all of the Alegria and the garter stitch. I mean, just a tiny little ball. And the gray, I had a little bit more, but not enough to go, wow, I have a lot left over. I had maybe 1/3 of a skein left. I meant to weigh it, and I didn't, and I'm sorry. If I get around to that, I will update it on my project page on Ravelry. But yeah, so that's that. Thank you again to everybody who participated in the knit along, whether you finished or not in the time frame. I mean, I didn't finish in the time frame, so I'm not, faulting you at all. But I hope that if you did participate and you did eventually finish it, that you've enjoyed it the way I have. So, secondly, after I got that completed, something else I've been doing, I guess if you're new around these parts, all you old hats, you've heard all about this. I'm trying really hard to work from my stash. I keep looking beyond you because my stash is displayed on the wall across from you. This is my hand spun that you see, a lot of my hand spun that you see behind me, and then starting about my shoulders, right down here, that down is all my self-striping, you can see, from where I had my Felicia incident. there's a spot open because I thought I was going to knit some of the Felici, and then I ended up not. But that's beside the point. See, this is why I'm having to only do 1 or 2 projects, because I start rambling and get off on some other tangent, and I can't keep myself focused. Alright, so I sat down. I wanted, you guys remember I casted on a sweater, and it's hard. Well, okay. It's not, it is a challenging pattern. There are a lot of cables to keep up with. Luckily, she's put it all in one chart. But it's still, I have to sit down and focus when I'm knitting on it, and I don't have a lot of sit down and focus time. So, and it's going to be a pretty heavy sweater. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. It's going to be a pretty heavy sweater. I don't have my coffee with me. I knew I was forgetting something. Anyway, that's going to be a pretty heavy sweater. I'm in East Tennessee. We had a very mild winter. Summer is coming. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, winter is coming. Guess what? Winter never came here. Summer is coming. And I wanted to have a garment because I had so much fun wearing the 2 sweaters that I made in the fall. I had a lot of fun wearing them over the winter when it was cold enough to wear them. So I wanted some more garments to wear. So I started looking through my stash. I found some very old. I bought this at the Smoky Mountain, no, at the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair in 2011. And it's just a little gob here. I bought 2 skeins of this. I do not have the tag near me, but this is their willow base. I believe it's 80% wool and 20% bamboo. And it just has this, it's browns, and it has, and some undyed portions, and it has this lovely sheen to it that's just fabulous. So, I have been trying to come up with something to knit with this for ages, clearly. You know, 5.5 years, right? 5.5 years. And it was time. And I had decided a long time ago I wanted to knit, this had been in my queue for years as well, since 2012. So that's the back of it. So you see it's kind of a T style, and it has a split back. And the front, I ran out of red ink, so you can't really see well on those, but she did provide a drawing, a schematic, right, kind of a rough sketch there, showing you the front and the back. The front does have some garter stitches, and you see how I drew those arrows on there? It's because I was trying to explain to a friend at knitting how it was knit up. It you start from the sleeve and go into the center, and then you hold those stitches, and then you start from the sleeve on the other side and go into the center. And it's really, it's been a very interesting construction, because you go around the sleeve, and then you provisionally cast on down the side, and you come back up, and then you pick up those provisional stitches and go back down the other side. So there is no side seam, but you're still working back and forth over the shoulder. It's brilliant. And then when you get to the neck edge, you knit the back, and then you knit the front to the center and hold those stitches. Do the same over here. And then, so that's where I am. That's how far I've made it. Let me figure out how all these go. Okay. So, again, Brooks Farm Willow. I've been knitting these on my US 8s. That's 5mm according to my cubics from Knitter's Prod. So here we are. This is my right side. So that's the front. I just this week finished up the knitting. So that's the front. You see how the back is curling like mad. I really hope that with blocking that relaxes. And then here's my other side. This is the left, obviously, since you just saw the right. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying looking at, especially, I'm a little disappointed in how it all of a sudden started flashing, but that's the nature of variegated yarn. I was going to say hand-dyed yarn, but it doesn't matter if it's hand-dyed or otherwise. If it's variegated, you're always going to have the possibility that flashing occurs depending on your gauge and how many stitches you're working, that sort of thing. So that's kind of interesting, but it'll be fine. It's fine. But it's interesting the way the colors worked up, stockinette versus garter. That was interesting. And then there's the back again, curling like mad. So what happened that I realized when I take super meticulous notes, like, let's see, where's the page with all my notes on it? Yeah, look at all that. You see all that penciling all over it? And I wrote, when I was doing the first side, because I knew the second side needed to be not exactly the same, because then I would have two lefts, but it needed to be, you know, the same except the right. So I took very meticulous notes, and so when I was going to do the other side, marking through exactly what I'd done on the first side, I'm doing the fourth, I was knitting the fourth size, I believe. Yes, I was knitting the fourth side, but then, and I did that on the back, I did that on the shoulder and the sides and the back, but then when I got to the front, for some reason, I circled the fifth numbers. So I worked the fifth side for the front, and maybe that's okay. It'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. I realized this after I'd gotten done knitting quite a bit of the other side, and so then I had to decide if I wanted to go back and redo that other front, and I decided, you know what, no, we're just going to go, it's just going to be a little swingier. It's a summer top. I want it to be loose. You know, I want it to be kind of cool and airy. So it's gonna be fine. Just going to go with it. So that's where we are. I need to seam up my little sleeve things here. Those need to be seamed. And then I get to learn how to do a garter Kitchener. That's going to be super fun. And also seam the back together at the neck, back neck. I am considering, if I don't like, oh, see, I'm already over my 15 minutes. I have already decided that if I don't like the length, I'm hoping it lengthens a little bit when I block it, but I do not, you know, fingers crossed. But if it doesn't work out, I am planning to go back to SAF this year, and I will visit the booth, the Brooks Farm booth, and hopefully they still stock that base. And if they do, I'm going to purchase a skein of undyed, just the creamy color, and knit on a lace edge. You know how with shawls, you'll knit the shawl, it's been pretty popular here last several years, where you knit like a crescent or whatever, and then you have all those stitches on your needle, and you work perpendicular to your rows that you have on, you've already knitted, and pick up stitches as you go, so you never have to bind off, you know, 350 or 400 stitches. You just bind off that 10 or 12 on your nice knitted on border. Well, I'm considering the idea of going back and picking up stitches along the edge and knitting on a kind of shallow lace border. I'll use one of my stitch dictionaries and pick a lace out of that, and then just knit it on. I thought that would be kind of nice, and it would give it some length and some interest at the bottom around the edge, and yeah, so if it ends up being a weird length. That's what's going to happen in the fall after that. So I am at my limit here. Will hopefully, I don't know what days I'm going to be doing this specifically. I'm not real sure how my schedule is going to work out, because I have I have other goals in my life that I'm sticking to. I am going to the gym 3 times a week. It was 4. I backed it down to 3. I'm doing some professional development, and the other 2 days on Tuesday and Thursday. So this may be a Saturday thing when Isaac is napping. And by the way, if you're wondering, he's amazing. He's one of the sweetest, smartest little boys. Still not talking yet, but he has demonstrated in other ways how smart he is to be 18 months old, and I'm very proud of him. But with that, my leg is falling asleep, so I'm going to hop up out of the floor of my craft room. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'll see you back next week.
I just can't wait to finish. I got the kitten in blues. No, I just can't wait to finish. That's why I got those kitten in blues.